Now, of course, the Strictly crisis continues to dominate the headlines, and earlier Amanda Abbington, whose claims about her professional partner, Giovanni, started the deluge of complaints, spoke out on her sister show, Lorraine, about the backlash that she's had.
I was just thinking, God, everybody hates me. And everybody wants me dead and wants me to die of cancer and wants my children
and this is what people were actually writing on these...
Things like that were happening every day for 8 months.
Has it altered the way that you're living your life?
Yeah.
Has it altered your day-to-day life?
Completely, yeah. I go outside worrying because, you know, I had messages saying, watch your back, because you've just, you know, you're going after Giovanni. And I'm not. I just literally said, I'm not sure this is appropriate behaviour. Can we address it? That's all I did. And the onslaught that I've had for 8 months, relentless.
Well, that was this morning on Lorraine, and Amanda also gave an interview to Channel 4 News last night. In fact, there was a 45-minute version of that, which I watched, and it was a very difficult watch. We have all been in Strictly, as it happens.
And I think that's one of the points, because we have all been on there. We know the good and the bad, and everybody's had individual moments which won't have been what we wanted them to be. But I don't want to pull focus by talking about that so much, because what the point here is that, firstly, you know, Amanda's found the courage to speak up about inappropriate behaviour, and she didn't find anywhere outside of this route to be able to voice a concern that says, I don't feel safe here, I don't really enjoy this. And I think it is down to management to take accountability for the media spills. There's so many media spills throughout the whole of anyone's journey. And if they're focused on you, it's not easy. And I think when you're in a difficult pairing, people don't know where to turn, because everybody else has got such amazing pairings. It highlights even more how a difficult pairing feels. And so if there isn't a space where she can go and say, I feel very vulnerable, and also for the pros to feel that they can go and say, you've partnered me with a stranger that is not actually behaving appropriately with me. It has to work both ways, right? That's where I think the focus should be.
I mean, Amanda has spoken about the onslaught, and you can understand, of course, why the audience don't want this story to be true. Because everybody loves Strictly. It's been part of people's lives for 20 years now, and people feel very, very warmly towards it. But it's also a workplace, and people have to know that in a workplace they could be confident that the behaviours are going to be appropriate. I mean, the BBC, you know, has given us a right to reply, saying that anyone involved in a complaint has a right to confidentiality, fair process, it being appropriate to comment further. Our processes are updated every year. They're under constant review. Last week we announced additional steps to further strengthen welfare and support on the show. I mean, Amanda is saying that there is 50 hours of video, which she feels would be revelatory. I don't know what you think, Judy. I kind of feel the BBC has to take a hold of this and move very quickly and make everyone feel confident about a really thorough investigation taking place.
I think, look, it's all very sad, and I think it definitely makes you think about how complaints are handled, and especially when women are speaking up about, you know, their experiences that has been bad. You know, I just think that everybody has different experiences on Strictly, and if it doesn't mean that if your experience was good, that the other person who experienced was bad, that they shouldn't be listened to. Their voice is just as important, especially to help make this place of work even more productive and more good for the safeguarding of both, as you said, the pro and for the dancers, and that's what's most important.
Because it's hard to speak out. I mean, we know in lots of realms, not just in this realm, whistleblowers are not generally very well received, are they? People who speak up and say, well, actually, it's not what you see. They tend to get a rough ride.
Yeah, I mean, I really think, obviously, there needs to be some kind of due care and attention to people's safety, and for there to be a place to feel confident enough to speak out. It's very reminiscent of that period of Me Too, and it shouldn't have to be that way anymore. When I was on Strictly, I had a fantastically positive experience.
Me too.
But I do remember there being a camera on a tripod in the rehearsal room all the time. I never felt alone.
All the time?
All the time, yes.
That's interesting.
There was a crew that would come in
that.
and film and do various little video clips, but there was always a presence of the video that you didn't feel aware of while you were rehearsing, but it was always there. And just like policing, there's a camera mounted on our armour, not just for the safety of the police officers, but also for the victims, suspects, witnesses and everything. So it's really to protect both people. I think camera evidence is the most crucial thing, and having a place to go to speak with confidentiality and trust that you won't be punished for that.
But also, as you say, to protect, you know, the other people who are involved within Strictly, the other pros. I mean, I was partnered with Kaye, who I have to say was an absolute gentleman, the patience of an absolute saint. But, you know, we need to know that this is going to be fully investigated. And it has to be said from Giovanni's point of view, he totally refutes any claim of threatening or abusive behaviour. And he says, having provided the BBC with evidence, he is confident that the review will prove this. So I think they need to move quickly and make sure that everyone is confident that a very thorough review does take place. Amanda Abbington will be joining us next week on Loose Women. Now, there have been